All right, it is 10:30, so we'll get this meeting kicked off. Before I get started, I'm gonna go a little off script here. So I was doing some prep work for this meeting. It's actually like the 2-year anniversary of these meetings kicking off.
Wow.
We had the COVID bottom 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we had safer at home orders in Wisconsin. 2 years ago tomorrow, actually. I remember writing letters to the staff saying you're an essential employee, so if you pulled over by the police, here's your letter, stating you're essential, come on into the office. It's been a crazy couple of years. That first WebEx, we talked about PPP. Joel Goffman did a little presentation. And then Chris Yard did a how to host a Zoom meeting. He had a checklist on everything you should go through for your virtual events. It was supposed to be a one-time, WebEx. And because it was so collaborative and we had just like so much like knowledge sharing, we decided to make it a weekly thing. Here we are 2 years later. So it's awesome to see. We always try to make this better. So one idea we had was trying to do something a little different. So quarterly, we're going to do a WebEx with the team here. We do these Wednesday meetings. A lot of little ideas come out of them. But, we want to share some of the big ideas with you guys on a quarterly basis and talk about things that are on the horizon, big announcements we have, which we have some huge ones today. Before we get to that, though, I'll start with the small ones, put you guys to sleep, we'll have Travis talk, and then we'll save the big announcements for the end. Anyways, before I even get into my presentation for today, I just want to comment on a WebEx from a few weeks ago. Travis actually hosted with Pam Ehlers. It was a very raw WebEx that we had. So Pam mentioned that, she had a conversation with me, I had her back. At that time, I actually asked her if she'd share her story so people could learn from her mistakes. It took a lot of courage for her to do that. Travis and her did a great job. They went through a lot of things, but there's a few things I just want to touch on. I think Rhonda might want to touch on a couple of things too, since our names were brought up in that meeting. First off, Harbour has your back. If you don't feel like we have your back, give me a call. If you feel like I don't have your back, give Nick a call, give Rhonda a call, give Travis, Julie a call. We have your back, but we're willing to go to battle for you. We do eventually have to draw the line in the sand somewhere and protect the 200 other financial professionals out there. But we always have your back. We always want to go to battle for you. Now, David Gianelli wasn't painted in probably the best light. And that actually made me happy because you know what? His job is to protect Harbour. So that's first and foremost his job. Make sure he's protecting Harbour. And I can guarantee if anyone has a situation like Pam's, they're not going to enjoy the conversation when David calls. So I thought that was good. The other topic, Travis is going to talk about E&O today, but I think the E&O in that call it was a little different, and I just want to clarify a few things. Your OBAs are covered under E&O if they are approved in writing from Harbour and under the professional services section, I guess. And Travis will cover professional services in a second. But Pam's was not covered because this wasn't insurance. It fell outside that scope.
It wasn't even sponsored by Sure West, the insurance company that she was writing through. FIP was not covered by them. That was something that one of their employees, they call it a rogue employee, slipped it in there. So that's why it wasn't covered. Also, FIP was eventually brought down or dismantled because of the interest rates that they were charging people that they were borrowing from. The pensions that they were buying, they were paying out exorbitant rates to borrow money, basically, which isn't allowed by the Banking Act. So that's how the feds actually shut down FIP, interest rates. So as far as figuring out what kind of product this was, it's not covered by our E&O.
Yeah, and then, we do have some selling away coverage. It's not the best coverage. It would have been way over the amount of selling away covers anyways. It wasn't covered, though, because this was not a registered product. It couldn't be selling away because it was not registered. So that's another reason this wasn't covered. So I just wanted to provide some clarity into that. I think it was kind of briefly glazed over during that call. But for me, I think the biggest takeaway out of that call is that if you're doing something new, let us know. New product, new strategy. Let us review it. Let's talk about the pitfalls. You know, Mark Herding is a product expert. I probably get a weekly call from Mark on something new that he's thinking about or working on. OCZ or QOZs, 1031s, DSTs, structured notes, whatever it might be. He's always calling to, hey, wants to get our blessing. Is E&O covered? Is this covered by E&O? Things of that nature. We can talk back and forth about those things, talk about limited coverage that you might have. But it can just help you guys with your decision. We're a partnership. We're here to help you guys, and just know that. Tied to this a little bit, Julie's seen a lot of trade errors lately. So I think Julie's advice, I'm going to speak for her for a second, but get involved early because she can help you easier if it's done right away. Correct, Julie?
Yeah, it's just, and we do see these upticks when the market starts to be volatile or go down. Yeah, but we get on it right away. We can work with TD, get them covered, get the situation sorted out. May cost some money, but it's better just to get it taken care of right away. I typically will take care of them if I'm not available. TD's trade desk directly can help with those if it's timely. Yeah, no one gets in trouble for a trade error. I know that's a common misconception that I'm going to get in trouble, I'm going to get fired, reprimanded. Errors happen, so we just fix them and move on.
Yeah, just let us know. That's the biggest thing. You will not get in trouble. Keep repeating that.
Yes.
But it might cost you something. Let's
Right.
be honest here. It might cost you something, and the longer that you go without informing us of a trade error, the more it can cost you. So that's why you want to trade it and fix it right away, people. That's why you confirm your trades all the time. It's back to the old days of 30 years being in the business. What's the callback on this trade? Did you verify it? Did you check the confirmations? We can't get sloppy, especially with such major market swings.
I can't get the audio.
Looks like we got audio feedback there.
Anything else to add on that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we've had some that are in gains. We've got some that are in the 20,000, 10,000. It happens. You're not alone if it happens to you. Just know that too. I mean, that can be comforting, but not comforting when you're paying for it.
Right.
All right, now that we've got everybody on the call, because it's after 10:35, we can get this actually kicked off with our agenda. So first up, I had Travis just giving some compliance updates here.
So first up, as far as just high level compliance updates, at E&O, I know a lot have been asking for your certificates. Our current policy doesn't expire till the end of this month, and new policy goes into effect the 1st, right? So you'll have no lapse in coverage. So if there's individuals asking, I know a lot of fixed carriers are asking for a copy of your certificates, provide them the one you have already. But we've been told we'll get our new certificates this week, and then we'll turn around and get them out to you as soon as we can. But let's talk about that E&O coverage. Before I jump into the marketing rule, a E&O policy, like I said, it's going to be effective the 1st. This is a new policy for us. It's the same insurer, but it is a much better policy. So let me kind of give you some of this, behind the scenes work that we've done. So we had talked about trade corrections and the coverage with E&O in the past. We've had a limit. You had to disclose to the carrier within 48 hours of discovering the trade error in order to be able to have your E&O covered. Now we're up to 72 hours. So that's a big win for us. Previously, the policy could be canceled for any reason as long as it was in writing in 60 days prior. Now the only way the policy can be canceled is for non-payment. So let's make our payments. Previously, there was no coverage for punitive damages. We've got $250,000 in punitive damages coverage, which is a good thing to have in our back pocket. We never want to be in a situation where we have to use that, but it's nice to have. A couple other things, alternative investments. Used to exclude coverage for alternative investments if there was a claim of unsuitability, right? And anybody who's been through these claims know that unsuitability always shows up. It's how your claimant gets into the broker-dealer's pocket. So we've eliminated that carve-out, which is great. So we'll continue to have coverage in those situations. And then we've also, as Aaron alluded to earlier, the definition of professional services now includes incidental tax advice. So those situations where you're telling your client, hey, you've got so many days to do a rollover. If it's not, if it's incorrect or there's an error there may be coverage available to you depending on the size of the error that comes with that. One thing to keep in mind is an FYI, the industry as a whole, and when I say industry, I mean the E&O insurance industry, is making large carve-outs. So think exclusions for anything crypto related, and this policy is no different. So anything, an ETF or mutual fund that includes crypto, we can see or expect to see that there would be no coverage there. So think about that as you consider placing those ETFs or mutual funds as they become available. There's no coverage there if something goes wrong.
So Travis, a question just came through. Tax prep, it's just incidental tax advice, correct? That's covered, not if you run a tax practice.
Correct. It's incidental tax advice. It's not a full-on tax practice coverage. Awesome. Sweet. Well, let me roll into the marketing role because I keep getting questions on this. And I know it's been out for a while, and I know you guys have been getting emails galore from all sorts of providers who want to get your clients' endorsements and slap them on your webpage for you. And this is part of that, but it's a small portion. So if I could take a step back and kind of paint a bigger picture of what we're working through. First off, we have until November 4th to be compliant with this new marketing rule. It's an all or nothing rule. Which is becoming more common nowadays. But what that means is when we decide we're going to commit to the new rule, we have to commit to it. There's no going back. Okay. On top of that, this new rule is made, if you think back the last 5 years of regulation, we've seen a lot more subjective instead of objective regulations being pushed. And many times when I read the articles on Investment Advisor News, they champion this as some great thing because they're so loose with the regulation. But when you start looking at the fines that come from it, it just opens up more doors for the SEC to hit you if you don't do your work along the way. So that's what we're doing. And speaking of work, so this final rule, if you pull it up on the SEC's page, 430 pages long, right? And by comparison, the act, right, 89 pages in total. So let's be serious here. This is a big change. Some of the impacts that we're going to see with Harbour, the solicitor program is going to be drastically modified. It'll be renamed as promoters. There will be a lot of criteria around disclosure and those conflicts of interest. Marketing is also now going to be defined as any direct or indirect communication to more than one client, which a lot of you may remember. FINRA's rules talks a lot about 25 or more. This is more than one client. However, the definition of a client is more of a household view. So a husband and spouse is still considered one client. Performance information, there's required specified timeframes, 1, 3, 5 years that we have to use. If we deviate from that, then we have more due diligence to do. If we turn around and use wholesaler material, provide that to clients and endorse it in some way, shape, or form. So say you post some Vanguard, news release onto your LinkedIn page and you say something to the tune of what a great article, everybody should read it. We've now endorsed it, which means we should have reviewed it and approved it before you posted it to LinkedIn.
But if they just repost it, it's fine.
If it's just reposted, it's fine. Also, don't mess with comments. So that's a big sticking point for the SEC. When I was out there and talking to them, if you're editing or deleting not so good comments, you're endorsing the message and you are tailoring the message. So all of a sudden, retroactively, you had to have approved it somehow. And then testimonials and endorsements. We're going to have actual disclosures. It's coming along the way, but we are working through it. Right? Like I said, this rule is massive when compared to the original act, and there's a lot that we have to work through. Impacts to you and your business at this point along the way. We're starting to use the new marketing guidelines and rules as we review your submissions. What does that mean? That means please do not submit something that you want to send out and expect it to be same day. Okay, I know we've tried in the past to do as best we can. We will continue to do that. But FINRA's rule still applies, SEC's rule still applies. We have to apply overlapping rules. It's going to take some time as we get used to applying these rules. So if you know you've got something you want to communicate, if you have marketing materials you want to get out, submit them early so that we can start working through it sooner the better. Other thing, if you're considering a new solicitor relationship before May, strongly encourage you to call me and we'll talk about what those changes may look like. Some of these changes may be showstoppers for you. Others, it may be just good to know going into it. But as far as the timeline here at Harvard, with this rule, we've already begun applying the new elements to marketing materials, like I just said. On April 1st, we're meeting with all the investment professionals who have solicitors. We're going to be talking through the changes there with that group. And then May 1st, we'll communicate to Harbour as a whole what those changes are going to be. Following that, then June, July, we'll be working through the disclosure process for testimonials and endorsements. And then at our conference here this fall is when we'll go through, complete our training, and then we'll roll out from there. So we should be able to start using these before the November 4th deadline. I expect that we can implement this rule sooner, which is a good thing for all of you. But again, a lot of ground to cover and be good about it, be detailed.
So expect more information.
Absolutely. We're gonna do it one piece at a time. We don't want to overload anybody. I know that was a lot right there.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks, Travis. The next thing I have on the agenda is our conference is actually getting an overhaul this year. Julie's taking on a lot more responsibilities. Rhonda taking her 30th anniversary trip to Scotland.
In August, 2 weeks.
We're going through a complete conference kind of overhaul. You guys have hired a party planner. Can you talk about what the conference is going to look like, the good, bad, and ugly of what's going to be different this year?
Yeah, the first big major change this year is the format. The conference is going to begin on Monday at noon. And Monday afternoon to Tuesday morning will be the mandatory session. That'll be the session that you're expected to either attend in person or online. You can cover it either which way. And we encourage both ways. Of course, we want to see your face and stuff like that, but if traveling is not working for you, please, don't worry about it. We now have modern capabilities where we can view it online.
Speaking of that, we're actually upping our tech budget this year too to bring in a crew, right? For audio and visual and.
Yeah.
Because it didn't go as well as we wanted to last year, so we'll have some professionals.
Yeah, last year we had one person that was hired. This year we're up to 3 people that will be there that are hired for the audio and visual. But once again, only the first morning and afternoon and morning will be streamed live or videotaped in any way, shape, or form. Monday night will be a big event, the whole group, including our awards and entertainment and stuff like that.
So no traditional Captain's Club dinner.
Nope.
It's a big dinner for everyone.
Club.
Awards Club.
Yes, we have to change our terminology too around here. And it's going to include most of the typical stuff that we have, the face-to-face compliance meeting, having Janelli and Travis this year. So this will be a treat, double whammy. As well as, product information, harbor updates, things like that. That will be a part of the first day. The second day is going to be more of a business boot camp. We're going to be including networking, buying and selling businesses, as well as business development. And this portion is not going to be taped. It's not going to be out for people to watch. You can't say, oh, I missed this speaker, I want to see them. If they're part of the optional portion, nope, we're not doing that, just to let you know. Also, if you do show up, photographer?
Yes, we have hired a professional photographer to take headshots to Monday during the mandatory sessions. So there'll be a sign up ahead of time where you can kind of get your slot, but it'll be throughout the day. We're gonna have up to 3 booths available. So anybody that wants a headshot, Harbour will cover the first one. If you want to purchase additional headshots, that'll be an option too.
Yes, and that headshots, even if you know, your guest is part of your office staff and you want one for them, and or you have a assistant coming to the meetings or attending, that's available for them too.
And that's why we're scheduling, so we can make sure to get everybody in that wants to, not bombard the photographer at one time. So, yeah, and Aaron mentioned we have event planners this year, so they're helping us out tremendously, just keeping us moving along so we can not be rushed at the end, but they will also be present at the conference. So if you see a couple new faces, that's our help.
And then that way they can concentrate on things like the entertainment and everything else. So Harbor staff can concentrate more on running the actual meetings and participating in the meetings and stuff like that. So we're pretty excited about it. They've come up with some fresh new ideas. Hopefully we have a whole new conference that we're looking forward to presenting this year. And a lot of the ideas did come out of the advisory board. I mean, once again, I want to thank them. They really do help us with things that do help us move forward and be more professional and work as a firm getting better. Just want a big shout out to them for helping us out with this. Anything else you want to cover on the conference?
So, well, as a reminder, the conference this year is the 19th through the 21st in the Kalahari, at the Kalahari in Wisconsin Dells. And then we've got our next 2 years scheduled out. 2023, we've got a new venue at Paper Valley in Appleton. And then 2024, we'll be back at the Osthoff.
And we're gonna go from there based on how the Dells go and
Right.
how Appleton goes, and
Yep.
we're gonna find some new venues, but.
Yeah, so after that Osthoff, it'll be in either something new again, or maybe Paper Valley.
We're not
We've
sure.
looked in Brookfield, we might revisit Madison. We'd love to have one in Madison, just haven't found the right place.
So you mentioned the awards club dinner is not gonna happen. Golf is also not gonna happen, right? It's just an alternative activity, now,
Right.
correct?
So the full day of activity took up too much time essentially to get everything else in. We'll have a morning event on Monday morning.
As well as a reception
Yeah.
Sunday night, because so many people drive 5-6 hours and they just like to make that drive on Sunday. So we'll still have a get together Sunday night, something casual, and then Monday morning, we're actually doing the Wisconsin Ducks.
Yes.
So if you're not from Wisconsin and you've never done the Ducks before, you have to do it. It's a must thing in Wisconsin. I know I had to do it when I first came here.
But yeah, then we also have, being we're starting at noon on Monday, certainly have the option of just driving up Monday and not having to get up too early and still make it for our first mandatory meeting.
So I saw a message come through saying no golf. If you really wanna play golf, I can have my arm twisted on Sunday to play golf, so shoot me a message and we'll figure something out. Anything else you guys wanna touch on the conference?
No, just keep in mind that noon on Monday to noon on Tuesday, that's mandatory. Must attend some way, shape, or form, and then the rest is optional. But we're really excited about the content that we're developing, a lot of it with First Trust. And as you know, they have great speakers and great programs, so we're really looking forward to this.
All right, so just announced earlier today on social media, Harbor's trip for 2023 is planned. I've got the dates up there, the pricing options up there. Little bit format change this year. If you are interested, email your interest level to Joanne, just like always. But Joanne has started to retire. She's down to 3 days a week now. So in terms of coordinating flights and your transportation to and from the resort, Lauren, our travel agent, will actually be contacting you directly for that this year. All of your flight changes and stuff she'll be handling. If you want to run your flights through her, it's a $25 fee.
I think so.
Rhonda loves it. 'Cause
I love it because she keeps me on track. I don't have to worry about anything. I know she's watching my flights and making sure I'm going to get there. She knows I like to sit in the aisle.
Yep.
I mean, Aaron likes windows. I like aisles. You know, everybody has their preference. So she's great. It's only $25, but of course, a lot of people do their own travel these days. That's fine. But Lauren has to coordinate those van pickups from the airport. It's not as easy as it sounds. Coordinating, getting a whole group from the airport to the location, and the resort's about half an hour away from the airport.
Yeah, so the resort this year is a little bit further because it's up north. But we're actually getting private transportation down, so it should be a little faster, and they're gonna be able to take the highway because of the size of our groups. They said that we don't have to go through all the little towns that we can actually take the highway and get off. So should be about half an hour. A nice location. We actually listened to people this year. We always listen, but last year I think Costa Rica everyone loved, but it was missing two things. It was missing white sand beach, and there was nothing nearby. You couldn't walk to bars, restaurants, whatever. So this year we listened. Amazing beach, awesome views from the patio and pool area. And the town, I mean, you can get in trouble 5 minutes down the beach probably.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you don't even have to go 5 minutes to get in trouble.
So there's little beach bars and stuff all the way down to Cabo. The full walk, we walked, it was 20 minutes, I think.
They said it was 20. It was more like 40.
All right, this is
Full disclosure.
full disclosure, this is after the Super Bowl. Rhonda's team had just lost,
I was not a happy camper.
not moving the fastest.
We were
Put it that
walking
way.
on the
Okay.
beach.
We were walking on the beach, but no, it would make a great thing to walk down the beach to the marina and then everything's there. Restaurants, bars, all these boats, just attractions and stuff to do.
Yeah, and if you don't want to walk it, it's a $5 cab ride. So
Yeah.
virtually nothing to take the cab into town, and it's really easy to get a cab. So, yeah, it should be a great trip. The whole crew went down there this year. A lot of fun. So this is close enough to downtown where you can go downtown, but far enough away that you're not like in the club all day long. So I think it'll be a great location.
Yeah.
It was safe. We tested out the downtown in various states of mind. And it was safe. I mean, I don't think anyone had concerns.
Travis might have. We're being sober here.
Everybody made it back.
All right, I think it's time for the big announcement.
Ooh, drum roll.
Rhonda's been excited for this one. Goodbye, WealthServ.
We found a replacement. We are so excited.
So after the trip to Cabo, Rhonda, Jim, and myself, we've been talking to Sycamore previously, but we went down and met with Prospera, another broker dealer, similar size to us. Great firm. They actually kind of showed us how they're using this program. And Rhonda does not have a poker face, and she really didn't have a poker face that day. She was ready to sign that contract sight unseen.
Within 45 minutes of the presentation, I was just like, mind blowing. Why are we on this? This is the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, yes, I was so excited.
All right, so I'm gonna do a quick 2-minute video. Talks just a little bit about Sycamore, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it as soon as that is done playing. So give me 1 second. You can't hear it? Sorry about that. No sound. Let me change my settings here and see if we can. Maybe we will not do this.
Send it out.
We'll send it out afterwards. It's a 2-minute video. It just talks about the platform. Rhonda and I will probably talk about it better anyways, because Rhonda's giddy about it, but basically it is a WealthServ type platform built on Salesforce. So everything will be done inside of a CRM. So yes, everyone will now have a free CRM. You probably saw on that video that it does integrate with Redtail. We will still support Redtail. If you're a Redtail user, no problem. The name Sycamore is terrible.
Yes,
So
terrible.
we are going to white label this to a name.
Well, also the white label comes with how much we can customize it. I mean,
Absolutely.
first we're gonna buy it out of the box, but every little nook and cranny of it, since it's built on Salesforce and that technology, we can create whatever we want. So we can just, sky's the limit of how we can customize it. I see this being, us having a user group with the advisors and talking about different customizations that we can do every year to
Yeah.
make this better.
To be honest, we'll probably do monthly meetings at the start, just about how we can improve the system right off the bat.
Yeah,
But we see this, let's talk about the roadmap a little bit, I guess.
Okay.
Skip ahead here. So April 1st, we're actually kicking off the implementation. Rhonda is heading up the project management on that. So she's actually taking care of everything that's going into Sycamore, making sure Sycamore is up and running with the data conversions and all of that. Sorry, give you a sense of it. So Rhonda's heading that up. We think by maybe the third quarter, we'll have the advisors start to use it to actually put their documents into.
Yes, that's the goal.
And with that, we retire Dropbox out. So things will go right into Dropbox or right into Sycamore. It'll be pushed to a data entry person here. They'll enter the data they have to enter on it. It'll go to a principal. You'll be able to see where it is in the workflow. So it doesn't just go into a black box anymore. And at that point, we'll be putting images just into Sycamore. We won't even put new documents into WealthServ at that point. Obviously, we're going to go through some training and stuff before that. But it's going to save us a lot of time because Nikki's job, she spends 4 to 6 hours a day literally just taking stuff out of Dropbox, putting it into a workflow system here. So it's going to be a huge time saver for Nikki, and it's going to help you guys out because you'll be able to see.
Yeah, because right now, sometimes people are calling us and saying, did you receive the paperwork? Well, you'll know we received the paperwork because you put it in there. Number two, a lot of times the principals that are approving it, especially for checking apps and things like that, they have to call you or email you, where now they're going to put a actual question or a situation right on the order. So when you log in, you can see if there's anything that's holding the order up, like source of funds.
Yeah.
They can send that question straight through to you.
So it's called Chatter. It's like an instant messaging system.
Yeah.
It automatically attaches all the conversations had directly to that order. So there's no notation that has to go in above and beyond. No back and forth emails. You'll still get notified of emails saying, hey,
Yes.
Rick has sent you a question on this order. Please log into Salesforce and make a change and respond. The other nice thing about this is it should help us eliminate forms where we don't really need client input. We just need information from the advisor.
Yep.
Check deposit type forms, source of funds type forms. We see this as being a huge savings to you guys and eventually making it kind of a seamless process to getting accounts open through Harbour. Where hopefully there's not actual physical paper anymore. That's the goal through all of this.
Right. And I really don't think it's going to take that much more time on your part to put stuff in. Because right now you still have to scan stuff in to Dropbox, label it. It's going to be the same kind of thing when you're going through with the new system.
Eventually there'll be more questions that we add, but it's going to save time in the long run because there won't be questions coming back and forth from Julie, Rick, Kyle, whoever, asking additional questions on it. It'll have a smart wizard that will ask the questions ahead of time.
And once again, I mean, these are all stuff that the reps can come to us and say, hey, this is a hang up. Can we do something about this? And there's chances are we can make it easier, make it more Harbour, make it to what we want.
Yes. It'll be a living, breathing thing that we are constantly changing, making small improvements to. We're incredibly excited for this because we've had 12 years of virtually no improvements. So.
Right. So this is like something that we're going into where we're going to have consistent improvements on. We'll also be part of a bigger user group. There's like 60 different firms in the US that use this one. We're WealthServ, we were it. It's going to be a very tough summer getting this all ready to go, but I just can't wait to see it unveiled and how much it's going to help both you guys and us and really take us to that next level.
Yeah. And speaking of tough summer, you guys will have some work too with all this data conversion. We need good, clean data. So I'm going to work with Kyle Pankey here, who's leaving us in a few weeks, and we're going to be reinitiating this CIP update initiative. So basically, there'll be an option for negative consent letter to your clients that don't have a CIP that's up to date saying, hey, this is the information we have on file for you. Is this correct? That'll put everyone's CIPs up to good order by the time we switch systems next year. So expect that from me and Kyle Pankey over the next couple weeks. You'll have to get this back to us. We'll have a deadline. I think it's 30 days we have in the letter. We need this back in the 30 days. I know some are doing tax season. It's okay. We'll give you guys different extensions. But if you get it back to us, we'll send out the negative response letter at no cost to you guys. If you don't get us a letter, we're still gonna go ahead and do this, but we are gonna charge you for the letter. Rhonda actually had me up my cost per letter, so you can talk to Rhonda if you have an issue with this.
Yeah, $1 doesn't cover postage
I know.
even, much less, ink
So
costs
the
money.
penalty would be $3 per letter. And again, Kyle Pankey will be initiating these, I think, actually after this call today. He'll start to get some of those out, and we're gonna start to set some hard deadlines. But we have to get the data right before we convert it. We don't want bad data going into a new system.
Yeah, so that's cleaning up client data, but also there's a lot of holds.
Yes. and
There's a lot of holds in WealthServ, like over $100,000.
You can see in 2023, go live, WealthServ sunset. All holds will be kept.
Yes.
So clean up your holds, otherwise we're gonna have a heck of a Christmas party here. So yeah, clean up your holds, because that is one piece of data we are not gonna transfer over as holds.
No.
So that has to be cleaned up.
No,
The goal this year, after we get kind of that middle office workflow done, we're gonna be doing dual entry commissions. That will take some time. We're gonna just make sure everything reconciles, so you guys are gonna be paid the same, one system versus the other. And then we anticipate having that go live January 1, so we have clean accounting next year in one system. So you guys aren't we don't have to match up 1099s.
so another thing that we want to look at is really reinventing things. Like taking a look at ticket charges, taking a look at this, taking a look at every single aspect of what we do on our side to make it cleaner, more efficient and stuff like that. So I think we're going to have some really good changes coming out of this as we relook and examine every little nuance that we do. So that's going to be pretty exciting. Do you have any questions so far?
There's a lot of
I
questions.
bet
That's
there's
why I
a lot
wanted to
of
go through-
questions.
All right,
Oh,
so-
images.
Oh, images, yes. So we will be doing a image data dump per advisor into the new system. It will not be indexed out for client. The advisors can index it back out to their clients if they want. But it'll basically just be a searchable image field.
Searchable. Keep that in mind, searchable. So, and, don't make any decisions now.
No, wait till you see the system.
Right. But what I've learned when we have switched systems at Harbor, it's always good to start fresh. Because you go back to the old system a lot the first 6 months, after a year, not so much, after 2 years, hardly ever. So it's really not worth spending hours and hours trying to keep everything that you had in the old system. So really take a step back and maybe go, maybe this will work for 6 months. And then as it gets less and less and less, there's always pieces that you might say, for my big clients, I want to do this. Or for this particular case, you can always go back and do that at any time. So keep
Yeah.
that in mind.
All right, let's go through these list of questions. I think the first one up, Travis, you used the term solicitor. Can you explain what you meant by solicitor?
Sure. So a solicitor is an individual, paid or unpaid, cash or non-cash compensation, who acquires clients or directs clients, refers clients to you, right? And like I said, in exchange, you pay them. Sometimes we see that they get a piece of the advisory fee. Sometimes there's a flat fee, but it's an individual who serves in that function.
Only on advisory accounts.
There's a number of disclosures that have to go on as well.
Yeah, and that's all going to change here.
Yeah.
Motor program.
So the example solicitor may be an accountant or a lawyer that you work a lot with, or what's the typical one we're looking for?
Yes, so we'll cover all these changes in our meeting on April 1st, and then the announcement that follows on May 1st. But generally speaking, we would be looking at future solicitors. They'll now be called promoters, being either licensed attorneys or CPAs, accountants. That's the type of relationship. There's a lot of reasons behind that we'll get into in this meeting on April 1st. But yes, that is the ideal promoter.
All right, the question about the trip, is it adults only? Yes, the trip this year was a success for the kids coming, but that will not be an every year thing. That'll be like an every 3-year type deal. This resort is adults only. This will be an adults only harbor trip. I would not take my kids to Cabo.
Maybe your kids that when they're 23.
Yeah, maybe
Adult,
Rhonda would take Tina, but I'm not taking Lydia. All right, conference, I think Nikki already clarified the 19th to the 21st, right, Julie?
This
For
year,
this year, yep.
yep, that's Monday through Wednesday, so the 18th, a lot of people will be coming in on Sunday.
Diane asked the destination, it is Cabo San Lucas. So, west side of Mexico. Oh, there we go, Dan sent that. So yeah, we'll send out that video after the call, as with the follow-up, we'll send out that quick little 2-minute video. Jeff, I think it was Jeff J, was it Jaylee or J? Okay. Warn against too much customization of Salesforce. So we are buying a very customized version of Salesforce right now, geared towards financial professionals. We will continue to do some customizations. It's not necessarily in the Salesforce code itself, but in creation of workflows and wizards, more so than anything else.
Yeah, Sycamore sits on Salesforce, and what we're subscribing to is Sycamore, because they already have things built out for us that do work for financial situations. So it's not like we're just entering into the whole gamut of Salesforce.
Yes. And they do have I see there's a note about the versions. They do have the classic version and the lightning version. We intend to fully use and train the lightning version. We don't see any reason to go backwards. It's an older version. So one thing I guess we didn't cover is price. So I think that's a big thing. We are not going to increase fees at all for this. This year, we are going to spend over $250,000 in implementation costs to get this up and running. But we are not going to pass any of that on to you guys. We're going to cover that through operations. Going forward, we do not see a reason for a CIS fee increase next year. We will not increase the fees.
And remember, we did up it this year, but we've included a lot more. We don't charge for returning CIPs. You have DocuSign,
Tracking.
financial tracking's included in there. So for a lot of people, their fees actually went down.
Yeah.
With the,
If more than 70% of people are using a fee, rather than doing a one-time fee, we rolled it into the CIS fee.
Yeah.
That's why we had an increase this year.
and this is, the CIS fee is still completely subsidized by the tune of,
Our goal is a 50% subsidization. It's not even there yet.
no,
We're
I
always
don't think
fighting
so
to be able to
either.
raise it higher.
Yeah, and he goes slow and it's like,
He's not here, so we can push
we
it
can
off.
crash on him. He's on spring break.
George Zach, now I have to use Salesforce to communicate with you. Absolutely not. This will just be one additional way that we can communicate. The nice thing for us is it'll be tied directly to the orders. So instead of Rick saying, hey, you need to add this to the LOU to whatever document, you can add it right to the order itself, give a better explanation. It should save time. Any integration with the DocuSign so we can create forms from this system? Yes, there is a DocuSign integration. They're actually building out a Morningstar Office integration for us as well. We are looking at Laser App straight through processing. We're also looking at potentially replacing Laser App with a better, cheaper competitor. One we looked at a few years ago that we're kind of excited for, but right now we're going to stick with Laser App because that is what we know. We don't want to change everything at once.
Right.
Holds. Yeah, holds, commission holds. Must sound like holds. Commission holds, the things that we have on hold. The biggest reason we have something on hold, outdated CIP.
Yes,
So this negative response letter will actually clean up some of that.
yes.
So we expect commission holds.
Also, if you want to check your on hold, you can go to the reports area in WealthServ and do an on hold report. So that's how you can find out what's missing in there. Give us a call if you don't know how to do that. We forgot another great piece of this new system.
The commissions processing and how they're gonna be able to see revenue per client, and we can get trails in there for per client and all that.
Yeah, that part, we don't know exactly when that's gonna happen. We have to become DTCC members, which I've already started the process. Unfortunately, that process takes a long time. But by joining DTCC, we will be getting a lot of feeds from the insurance companies we presently are not getting. We'll also start using all the trail situations that we have. So like American funds, which is a big one. Let's talk about that one since we've got $3 billion there. All the trails we do get, but we lump them every time we get the mutual fund trails in. When we switch to this new system, we're going to go by each client. So you'll be able to see that you're receiving this $2,000 trail on this client from American funds yearly. And you can see that as part of your analytics, that this is somebody that you make money off. So that was one of the wow, mind-blowing things that,
This will be a huge change for us.
oh yeah.
We're excited because the reason we don't do it in WealthServ is you guys would have 1,000-page
Commission
commission
statements.
statements. And in this system, you can actually compress all that, consolidate it inside the commission statement. You can look at detail, or you can look at a higher level summary.
But they will add to the analytics where we saw when we were at Prospera that you could literally see the top 5 income earners, your clients, the top 5 and what you've made off of them in the last year. It's like, wow, what information to have.
Yeah. If you want that information, we can do it now. It just takes Jim or I like 20, 30 minutes to actually dig through the data and do it. So it's just a pain. So you guys will have it at your fingertips. George had another question on the communication. No, you do not need to use Salesforce to communicate with us. If you are a phone person, you can still use the phone. If you're an email person, you still use email. This will just be one additional way to communicate, especially regarding orders that we'll be using. Could this replace Laser app? Yes. That answer is definitely a yes. And then there's been some questions on the dates for the trip again. Let me just put that slide back up here. Share button. So the 10-day trip, January 4th through the 14th, the 7-day trip, January 7th through the 14th, and the 5-day trip, January 7th through the 12th. So those are the days we're looking at. We are looking at potentially doing something on a different time frame the next year. Try to help with tax season and stuff. We try to do it as early as possible to help the tax accountants, but I know it's getting a little too early in the year. We're getting right up against the
Holidays.
yes, the holidays. So we are looking at maybe every few years doing something later in the year as well, just to mix it up. Do a different location outside of the Caribbean. So we're kicking around ideas right now. Anything else that you guys? We are like 3 minutes past our deadline, but
So if you guys have any questions, just give us a call, talk about all these different changes. Just, it's going to be a pretty exciting year. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I know I'm crazy when a big project comes up. I'm like, yay, let's go get it. So I'm actually in that mode right now. I think it's going to really improve communications and everything else between us and you and clients.
yeah, it's gonna be a game changer for us. We're really excited. I think everyone's energized here.
Yes.
To get this going.
All right.
All right, I guess we will end this call. Sorry we ran a little bit late today. Again, it was some big announcements though. We're really excited to share it with you guys. So I will we'll get off this slideshow and we will end this call right now. Everybody have a great week. Thank you.
Thank you.